Hey guys, what's up? I'm Zach. Welcome to Zach's Soapbox. This is a video for the week of Friday, June 20th, 2025. Before you ask about my hat today is a Soviet KGB officer's hat. It's a KGB general's cap for the head of the KGB. Anyway, today's topic is Satanism and what I derive from it, how I came to Satanism, what it means to me, that sort of thing. I've been a member of the Church of Satan for, it'll be 13 years. I think September 24th is my Satanversary when I received my red card back in 2012. And I was practicing the religion for 3 years before that. So I've got almost 16 years in the satanic religion. I am a registered member of the Church of Satan, but I do not speak for the Church of Satan. So anything I say in this video is my personal opinions, ideas, and interpretations, and, you know, kind of how I live my Satanism. Because ultimately that's what Satanism is how best to live your life as an atheist and the most important thing in your own universe. So, I suppose I should start from the beginning and tell you how I discovered Satanism and how I came to it. Back around the year 2000, I was, like I've said before, I was always a fan of history, learning, etc. So I always watched like the History Channel, Discovery Channel, educational things, you know, even the Science Channel, things like that. And I was watching the History Channel, and I think it was something like 666, The Mark of the Beast, and they were interviewing, at the time, it would have been High Priestess Blanche Barton. She would have still been High Priestess of the Church of Satan because it was before Magus Gilmore took the reins. And she read from her book, The Secret Life of a Satanist, and kind of went over some of the basic principles of satanic philosophy, like the 11 Rules of the Earth, things like that. You can still find that on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. And stuff like that. But they kind of, you know, she's kind of explaining that we don't worship the devil, and then the narrator kind of comes back and says, well, these devil worshippers, or something like that. You know how typical was. But it always intrigued me. So then, when I was in high school a few years later, at the age of 16, I was in the library, and we had computer access. And I punched in Satanism and the Church of Satan, and like a picture of the, like the Baphomet, but like the Eliphas Levi Baphomet with the goat head and the breast, and then the, you know, as above, so below with the hands, came up. And I was trying to read as much as I could, but I'm in the library at Mercer High School, so I don't want to get busted looking at anything, you know, from Satanism or satanic. So I always kept it in the back of my mind, you know. And then when I got my own place when I was 24. See, I was a late bloomer. Most Satanists you meet say that they read the Satanic Bible when they were like 12 or 13 years old. I didn't read the Satanic Bible until I was about 24. I remember I went to the Shenango Valley Mall, and there used to be a Borders Books in there, back when malls and Borders Books were a thing. And I walked in there, and yeah, I walked in there. Mind you, I'm wheelchair bound, but never mind. Ha ha ha. Anyway, I went in there, and I went to the Bible section thinking, well, Satanic Bible, it must be with the Bibles, like the Christian Bible, the Quran, the Torah, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, etc., etc. And I didn't see it back there, and I'm looking all over the place. So I walk up to the counter, and nice little blonde lady, you know, and I'm like, ma'am, I'm looking for a book. She's like, oh, what book are you looking for? And I'm like, and I'm whispering, like, the Satanic Bible? And she goes, don't we have one? And she goes in the back, and she comes back, and she holds it up and goes, is this it? And it's the, you know, the black cover with the, like the pink Baphomet on it. It says Satanic Bible, Anton Szandor LaVey. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's it. And she goes, okay. And she rings it up, and it was like $8 or something like that. And she puts it in the bag for me. Oh, nice to see you. Because I, you know, was a common customer, and I'd been in there probably once a month or once every couple months. I had the transit take me in, and then, you know, hang out at the mall for the day and stuff like that back in the day. And I ran out of that goddamn Borders Books like I stole something, and I couldn't wait to get home and read that. You know, I couldn't wait to get home and open it. First thing I did when I got home, I sat down and read the book. I read it in one sitting, all 262 pages. And I knew then that it resonated with me. However, I wasn't sure if it was just a flash in the pan. Like, did I just discover something new and I'm interested in it for a while? Or is this really part of me? So for the longest time, because I was already headed towards like atheism and stuff like that anyway, like when they explain like the four crown princes of hell, like Lucifer, Satan, Belial, Leviathan, etc., etc. I already knew like what three of the four crown princes were. I was already playing with the idea of like evil being relative and good and evil being subjective, and things like this, and the idea of all gods are kind of made up. I was already kind of coming from that perspective anyway, you know what I mean? um, and then when I read the book, it's like I had interest in other religions, but I would read about them. Like I read about Buddhism, I read about some Wicca. I even, at one point I read even the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley, things like that. And just kind of, I skimmed stuff, but none of the stuff was what I was looking for until I read the Satanic Bible. And it was then that I knew I had a name for what I knew to be true for me. I had a name for what I was. And here I am, 13 years later, still a proud member of this organization. No, I don't have a rank or anything like that, but I am a registered member. And, as far as, well, why don't you go for, active membership, Zach? You seem to really be able to articulate what Satanism is and things like this. Well, that brings me to my next kind of point, is that there's no such thing as a non-practicing Satanist, in the sense that we all kind of live the philosophy in one way or another. Now, we all might apply it to our lives differently based on our own creative endeavors, our own natural attributes, talents, and abilities, what interests us, what makes us happy, things like that. But ultimately, we all live the philosophy in our own way. For example, without Satanism and trying to do what's best for me, would I even have moved to Vegas, trying to better myself by moving out here where there's more infrastructure, where I can get around easier, I can get out and do things and live a life, go to concerts, movies, and enjoy myself. After all, life is the great indulgence, death is the great abstinence, right? So that's what Satanism is living the best life. Well, kind of hard to live the best fucking life when the last bus to transfer PA stops at 2 p.m., only Monday through Friday, no holidays, no weekends, and there's snow on the ground for 7 months out of the year, right? So, so moving out here made a lot of sense, particularly in that sense, Even before I moved here, I'd always come out to Vegas and have a birthday bash every year, and as we know, one's own birthday is the highest holiday in the Satanic religion. So, because that's what Satanism is all about you. And so, ways I live the philosophy. I live the philosophy, as a lot of you know who follow me on social media, I do a lot of exercise. Like yesterday, I did an arm bike ride and I did my arm bike for like 16.6 miles. Today, I actually set a personal record for 60 bicep curls with 60 pounds. I think I'll try a 70 pounder on Monday. But no, that's the way I live the philosophy, because particularly like with cerebral palsy, deals a lot with like muscular and like spasticity and things like that. So weightlifting and strength training and, even cardio exercise is good for everybody, particularly with cerebral palsy. It helps kind of negate some of the muscle atrophy and the deterioration that comes with that. When I'm like getting tired and I'm grinding out the last couple of reps, like my last set of 3 reps today to get to 60, I was at 57. I'm like, can I do a set of 3, But sometimes when I'm getting tired and I'm bent over and doing bent over dumbbell rows with 140 pounds with one hand, and sometimes when I'm getting tired, I'll look down and I'll see my Baphomet from Satan me around my neck, or I'll look down and realize that I'm wearing a sigil of Baphomet on a t-shirt, because I don't really hide my Satanism. I don't talk about it, but I also don't hide it. Generally speaking, I'll wear my Baphomet or, the lightning bolt sigil, the Dr. LeVay sigil or something every day, you know what I mean? Um, I don't hide it, but I also don't advertise it. Usually it's like, oh, it's a religious symbol, and then as soon as you say religious symbol, people kind of leave it alone, which is cool, Um, but um, but no. So living my Satanism means that saying, well, you know, a lot of people sometimes will act entitled to things, but my disability doesn't entitle me to anything. Being alive doesn't entitle me to anything. You don't have 22-inch biceps because you feel fucking entitled. You have 22-inch biceps because you worked for it. Um, you know what I mean? For me, this is all part of living my Satanism. Even going out to fantasy and seeing the girls and getting a night on the town. That's living my Satanism because it's better than staring at the fucking wall, Going out like this weekend, I'll go to the movies and probably go see the new Mission Impossible. How many of them are they gonna make? I have no idea. But it's living my Satanism. It's better than sitting here staring at the wall. It's better than investing in alcohol and marijuana. And I'd rather. I don't know. To me, it's like by doing like too much alcohol or too much anything, it make me a double crippled and make me double disabled. And the whole point of what I try to do is kind of try to not be disabled. You know what I mean? Yeah, I use a wheelchair to get around, but my wheelchair's not disabling. It's that if I kind of use it as a crutch and kind of quit, you know what I mean? So the wheelchair is it's a device for emancipation. It's not a crutch or an excuse to be a lame ass, so to speak. It's, I don't know. But so, like, for me, that's how I live my Satanism. And, I write poetry. You know what I mean? I think we're going to make a poetry video like once a month here on the Soapbox. But so, I had read and studied the religion for 3 years. Like, I read the Satanic Bible first. Then I think I read the Satanic Rituals. And then I read Megas Gilmore's book. Then I read the Satanic Witch. And then I read The Devil's Notebook, which is my favorite. And then I think I read the Satan Speaks last. All good books, and I'll highly recommend it for those interested in Satanism for sure. Then I have the in my Satanic library, I have the Essays in Satanism by Magister James D. Sass. I actually have the paperback version of that, which, from what I understand, the paperback in this case is more rare than the hard copy version. But I have like Burying the Devil's Mark by Magister Matt G. Paradise, the Book of Satanic Quotations, also by Matt G. Paradise. Let's see, I have Nietzsche, like The Antichrist, The Twilight of Idols, Thus Speaks Zarathustra, things like this, things that are on the Church Satan reading list, like Might is Right by Ragnar Redbeard. You know what I mean? What else do I have? I don't know. But anyway, I have Infernalia by the second edition by Magister Michael Rose, etc. But anyways, the point is not my Satanic library, but the point is, how do I live my Satanism? I live my fucking Satanism by getting out of bed every day. I live my Satanism by not needing a caregiver. I live my fucking Satanism by moving my ass across the country alone during a pandemic. I live my Satanism by not saying, well, I was given a bad draw or a bad hand in life. I live my Satanism by you being a lesser magician and playing my hand to the best of my ability and kind of using sometimes people's ableist assumptions against me. I find that like being in this chair is kind of giving me some camouflage in the sense that people are like, think that you're like weaker than you actually are or stupider than you actually are. So you kind of find ways to work around that. But I also find that, like, say if I do something better, like let's say I got a highest grade in my class or something, then people kind of get pissed off. You know what I mean? Because I'm not supposed to be that smart. I'm not supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like in school, it's like I was the handicapped kid, but like Aaron Paletta and other dudes in my class used to copy my English homework and copy my fucking homework and ask me questions about civics and government in first period POD, problems of democracy class and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I've always kind of defined ableism as kind of the bigotry of low expectations, and I find that sometimes when you kind of overshoot a person's low expectations for you, they get pissed off or get jealous almost. But that's a whole other topic. But I live my Satanism through my independence that I've earned, you know, going to speech therapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy. I live my Satanism by overcoming the bigotry of low expectations. People never thought I'd live on my... I used to talk about moving out to Vegas. Mind you, I've been out here 5 years now. I used to fucking talk about moving out here, and people would laugh and giggle, like, oh yeah, bullshit. Well, motherfucker, I did it. It might have took close to 10 years. 5 of that was just on the waiting list for these places, because these places are so fucking long. But motherfucker, I did it. So ha ha ha. Guess who got the last fucking laugh? Right? Alright? I live my Satanism. And so what does Satanism means to me? It means freedom. It means pride. It means liberty. It means independence. It means that no matter what life throws at me, I'm gonna fucking give it the best show, I'm gonna give it the best I got. It means that, you know, if I fall out of my chair, I'm gonna get the fuck up. It means that, okay, like I've been setting PRs all week, last couple weeks of my lifting. Like, okay, if you did 50 reps this time, do 55 next time. And keep building on it a little bit by little bit. You know what I mean? Or increase the weight. Or it means that I'm trying to make myself better by trying to keep myself smart by like watching Jeopardy and reading books and listening to lectures and keep my mind moving. You know what I mean? I find that like living out in Vegas, I feel like my mind is kind of rotting a little bit. It's not, but I kind of feel like it sometimes. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So living my Satanism means educating myself, means learning something today, means, you know, exercising, means living my Satanism. Because the longer I'm able to live independently, the better. Okay, there might come a day where I need a PCA and a caregiver and blah, blah, blah. But until that fucking day, they can fuck off, right? You know, the things able-bodied people take for granted. Having to earn your independence. And people used to laugh and thought you ain't gonna be able to take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. Why not? Why is this always like this assumption that I'm like fucking retarded and can't function or something? Why couldn't I take care of myself? Oh, I'm so proud of you. Look at you. Proud of what? I'm a 24-year-old man that finally got his own fucking place at 24. And like I said, I didn't join the church till I was 27. And I did my own, funny story, I did my own satanic baptism using the one that, you know, there's the two satanic baptisms and satanic rituals. There's the one for children, the like little paragraph, and then there's like the one for more like adults. And so I didn't have a bell or nothing for one of my first rituals. So I'm using like a Pyrex bowl and banging on it with like a little spoon to make the ching sound, you know? Like fucking Sanford's on steroids in a satanic ritual, like a satanic ritual for rednecks and shit, right? Like, but anyway, but that's how I live my fucking Satanism. You never live on your own? Bullshit. I've been living on my own for 20 years. Never go to college? Bullshit, I did. You know, even go back to, you know, when I was born. Oh, he might be blind, he might be slow, he might be, you know, this. You know what I mean? And it's always like the assumption, or like growing up, I was in this special education class when I really didn't need to be, at times. Things like that. To where you're always kind of fighting that glass ceiling that's there. Like where I'm just always supposed to try and just get an E for effort, but I'm never supposed to win. You know what I mean? Well, motherfucker, I did win. You know, oh, you're pretty strong for someone in a wheelchair. Dude, I'm stronger than you. Like when I do my gripper for my Captain's a Crush, I'm crushing a number 2 gripper, which is 195 pounds. Most guys can't close that. Most men can't close that. Okay? When you do a number 3, you can get your name in a book, but you have to certify it and stuff. I'm not quite that far yet. What kind of pisses me off, because I can do, like, say on a good day, I can do like 22 reps of the number 2 gripper, but I can't close a 2.5 because it goes from 195 up to 238. And the number 3 or higher is where you get name in a book. Number 3 is 280, and a number 3.5 is like 323 pounds, and then like a 4 is 365 pounds. Only 5 people in the whole world have ever closed a number 4, but I can do it too, with CP and all that. But anyways, so what Satanism has taught me is that it's not the challenge that life throws at you, it's how you deal with it. I don't give a fuck if you've been through trauma, if you've been abused, if you've been used, if you've been... Satanism says you are your own fucking God. Don't let a motherfucker use you. Don't let... You know what I mean? You are your own advocate. You are your own happiness and joy is always paramount in Satanism. So Satanism doesn't affect life as much as you affect life by being a Satanist. Satanism is a tool, not a cause. So this is how I live my Satanism. You know what I mean? And this is what Satanism means to me. And you're goddamn right, I'll wear it around my neck, and I'll wear my fucking shirt, because it means something to me. And if a Christian can wear a cross, if a Jew can wear a fucking Star of David, or a Muslim can wear like a crescent, or a hijab, or whatever, I should be able to wear my sigil of Baphomet, just like anybody else. Freedom of religion, that's the whole thing with that, is it's pluralistic. Not just your fucking religion, or Christianity, or whatever the fuck the majority religion is in your country, right? But, so, I don't know, guys. I didn't really write down any notes, but I just wanted to kind of, that's how I live my Satanism. You know what I mean? And I, indulge, you know, like we'll go out and see a show once in a while here in Vegas to play tourist. You know, I indulge. We go to the movies and stuff. I indulge. I got Chinese tonight, you know. What the hell? I hadn't had Chinese since November. But I got Chinese beef and broccoli tonight, you know, pretty good. But no, man, I indulge, you know, I do things. Who says indulgence has to be alcohol or, you know, smoking, or, you know, indulgence can be, you know, I don't know, a piece of cake. Indulgence can be, you know, it's kind of, that's the thing with being a Satanist, is it's what's best, or what you feel is best for you. Indulge how you see fit. Live how you see fit. Right? So, you know, whatever's suitable to your palate, you know what I mean? Like say with the elixir and satanic ritual, you know, it's what's suitable to your palate or what you enjoy. But I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I just wanted to say that that's how I live my Satanism. You know, I live my Satanism because they never said I could. I live my Satanism because, you know, when I was little, I had a cast all the way up to my groin, all the way down to my feet, and I had a bar between my, like the summer of the O.J. Simpson trial back in '94, I was in a half of like a body cast for that whole summer. But I've overcame all that. You know what I mean? You know, it's just where I am today versus where people assumed I would be is just, I've done so much more than people ever realized, you know? Like even back home, my aunt told me like a month ago that somebody that I went to school with, or somebody that rode my school bus or something, asked about me, and she goes, "Oh, he lives in Vegas." And they go, "Lives in Vegas? What's he doing out there? Isn't he disabled?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah." But then it was like such a shock that I'm disabled and live in a different state on my own, you know? It's like, well, why is it a shock? I use a wheelchair to get around. I wipe my own ass. I make my own meals. Okay, you use a chair to get around, which means your apartment has handicap bars in the bathroom and lower light switches. What does that have to do with being able to live on my own, and things like that? But all right, guys, I'm coming up on 25 minutes, which is way too long for a soapbox video because I got to get this motherfucker uploaded, and it took forever for the last one. So, peace out, deuces, hail Satan, motherfuckers, and I'm out of here.